Good evening. Oh, good afternoon, Sweden. How are you going, Adam?
Hello. All good, all good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. We just watched Smart Friend, your little drum playthrough there.
Yeah,
That is so good, man.
thank
That
you.
is that's like every time I listen to that song, it's so hard to sort of bop because the rhythm just changes the next
Yeah.
second in there. But how did that song sort of come about?
That song was actually written before I joined VOLA.
Oh, right.
But they didn't have a drummer when they wrote it, so it was programmed drums and the mix between the real and the electronic stuff. And then I just did my thing with it, incorporated the stacks and all that stuff. That was pretty much the case with most of the previous album, Applause of a Distant Crowd. It was about me putting my own touch on it, adding my own elements,
Yeah.
Adjusting things and so on.
Because I think that I picked up on when I think it's probably a year and a half ago since I saw the first VOLA drum playthrough, and I remember I saw your drum kit. And I was like, surely you're missing a couple of toms. So they're like, there's something like there's something missing here because it's a very unique setup you have. How did you come up with that setup? And how do you make that work?
I mean, I entered I don't know how many years ago now, but I entered this phase where I just wanted to really experiment and try things outside the box. So first of all, the rack toms, I removed those because I wanted to have easier access to the cymbals.
Yep.
So that was like one trade-off that I just tried, and it worked. And then I thought, okay, why not have a tom on each side? It was just this why not thing. So I tried many other things that didn't make the cuts. Like at one point I had maybe 5 different stacks at the kit. I had rack toms as well. I had a China and loads of crazy stuff. Then I just stripped it down and kept the essentials. So it's pretty much just this why not thought. And I found that having just the floor toms and having one on each side, it's like this very tribal feel to it. You're not finessing on the rack toms, you're just smacking those big toms. And it was I don't know, I just liked that feeling, and that kind of translates well to my playing style, because I'm not so Mike Portnoy finessy, and I'm just going with the flow and like to add some more emotion and energy to it. But yeah, it's working well. I mean, I have to adjust some parts and the way I approach some fills and so on, because obviously I cannot do the typical around the kit fill and so on. But that's part of the challenge. Find different ways to deal with it.
But it's so funny because when you actually listen to the album, like Applause of a Distant Crowd, like I didn't even sort of pick up on that you don't have those massive, tom rolls and stuff, because like everything just fits so well together. And I think obviously as a drummer, like you really pick up on those stacks, like the fact that you have all these sort of effect symbols, which is such a cool element to the songs. In general. So, but so, how did you, I'm really curious to hear about the story about how you joined VOLA.
So that's, it's a pretty, interesting but straightforward story. So the original drummer, before me, a Danish guy called Felix, really good. So he basically, he plays with some of Denmark's biggest pop acts, and that's what he wanted to focus on. So he went towards that, and then VOLA had their first tour that they did with Catatonia. So they had another great drummer for that tour, a session drummer from Norway, Simen Sandnes. Then after that, they started looking for a full-time drummer. So they tried in Denmark, but they didn't really find the right match. Because they found obviously great drummers, but the style has to fit as well. So they just posted on Facebook in a drum group, a Swedish drum group, Facebook group for drummers. Just said, "Hey, we're VOLA. We're looking for a drummer. Email us if you're interested." So yeah, I thought, why not? Sent an email. Then they wanted me to do a playthrough, so I played through Stray the Skies, sent it to them, and I also uploaded it as a YouTube cover. Then they wanted to try me for a few shows that summer. Then after the first show we had in Germany, a festival show, which was a very interesting show, they said, "Yeah, why not? Let's go. You're in."
Fantastic.
Yeah, and later that summer we recorded "Applause of a Distant Crowd."
Far out.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So it was literally just one show and you nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. We met one time before just to see the chemistry between us. Yeah. And then, of course, before the show, we had maybe 1 or 2 days of rehearsals. I don't really remember. But yeah, it was pretty much that.
Fantastic. And so how does the logistics work out? Because obviously you live in Sweden and the other boys are in Copenhagen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how do you write songs and how do you rehearse?
Yeah, I mean the songwriting. It's so for example, we're finishing up our third album now. So we wrote songs for it in around December. And we entered the studio to record the drums in February, I think. So that's where the recording started. So the songwriting for this was that we recorded ideas at home, and then we just send it to each other, put it together, give input, change things, and so on. But we do everything online. So, for example, I could record a drum groove, then Martin on the keyboards, he does a melody. And then Nikolai adds something, and Asker takes that and does his thing, and so we just collaborate online. We did have like one session in Asker's like summer house in Denmark during December. So we just went there for a few days, just went through a few things with the songs, wrote a bit, just enjoyed it, But for the most part, we just do it online. And then when we go to play shows, if it's like a tour or something, then maybe I go there 3 days before or something like that. We rehearse for a few days and then go for the tour. If it's a festival, unless we haven't played together for a long time, then we just fly to the festival and play. Otherwise, we take maybe a day to rehearse. Wow. So it works pretty well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, you're obviously like you must rehearse quite a bit at home because just to be able to just rock up and everything just works. That's takes a lot of effort. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in regards to touring, I noticed that like you're playing a couple of sort of bigger tours supporting was it Dream Theater last year?
Yeah, we supported Dream Theater for 2 shows last summer in Germany.
Yep.
Which was pretty crazy. And then, before I joined, they supported Catatonia. Then we supported Monument, also Haken. And we did our first headline tour last year. So it was pretty cool.
Absolutely. We just need to eventually. We got to get you guys to Australia once this whole coronavirus.
Yeah, that would be cool.
By the time all this coronavirus is done and dusted, how has that affected you guys? over, because obviously everybody has had everything canceled over summer and all that.
Yeah. It has hit other bands and artists harder than us, because this, I mean, we're still finishing the new album, so obviously we wouldn't go out on the album isn't released yet, so next week wouldn't be the biggest tour of our lives, you know. There have been bands who have literally landed, gone to the nightliner, and then had to go back and cancel everything. So for us, a few festivals this summer were rescheduled to next year. I think one is still on in September in Denmark, Spot festival. Yeah. But that's it. Other than that, I think for everyone, most of the shows this year are cancelled. But yeah, I mean, for us, this whole spring, and we've just been focusing on the album anyway. So the things that have been moved have been a few festivals, but not like a big tour, or not a ton of festivals. So we've been affected, of course, but some have it way worse with this. So we're kind of lucky considering the circumstances with the timing.
Well, I suppose it also gives you a bit more time to sort of finish off the last details for the album and all that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's what we've been able to just lock in on.
Yeah. When is there any release date for the album, or is that still up in the air?
Yeah, no release date yet. But the album is very close to being finished, though. Yeah, it's closing in.
Excellent.
So. Yeah.
So what can people expect on the new album? Is there anything that sort of stands out in regards to the last two?
It's definitely going to sound much more modern and heavy. So I know some people have been asking for some heaviness, and this album, they will definitely have that for sure. But yeah, we go for a more modern approach as well, and yeah, it's I think it has its own vibe. It differs a lot from the other two albums, but it's still part of the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've really spent more focus on the production side of it. So, for example, the drums were recorded at Top Floor Studios in Gothenburg. Amazing studio. Like for drums, that's the drum studio, you know.
The role for us.
Yeah, I mean that guy has worked with so many great metal acts. A lot of the big Swedish ones, like In Flames, Dark Tranquillity, and so on. He really knows his stuff when it comes to drum sound.
Yeah.
Yes, we're putting a lot of effort into the production to make it sound really modern and fresh. But of course, as always, we have the very heavy side, but we also have the mellow side. So it's not 100% just heaviness, blast beats, and craziness. But it's, compared to the previous album, this is definitely much more aggressive.
Yeah,
for sure.
Fantastic. I'm super excited to hear it. I actually the first song I ever heard was at a sound check in Perth, where somebody played Stray the Skies about, I think, 2.5 years ago or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you know, I was sitting and listening to it. And said, "Wow!" I thought it had this really awesome, like this solid big chorus. So I just grabbed my phone out and just Shazammed it, and it came up with VOLA. I was like, "Oh, cool! I've never heard of them before. I'll check them out later." And I saw the show, and a couple of days later, couple of days later, I went through my Shazams and I thought, I better check this out again. And after that, it took me almost another year to find out that it was a Danish band.
Yeah.
But it's been a bit difficult for me to sort of pinpoint the genre specifically. What do you guys call yourself?
Yeah.
Is prog rock? Is it djent? Is it like rock or this weird hybrid?
Yeah, that's the big question. I mean, I have no idea really. Like it has elements from all those genres you mentioned, also from other genres. So it's, I mean, I guess the easiest way to put it, if we have to place it under an umbrella, is progressive rock or progressive metal. But yeah, I mean, some songs go just into the rock vibe. Some are more towards the djent style. Some are more progressive, and in that we have all these various influences. I mean, stuff like Meshuggah and Opeth and metal stuff, that's obvious, but then there's also some people mention Depeche Mode in relation to VOLA, but there's also the Danish band Mew. It's also a big influence, and just loads of different things over and so on. So it's I don't know, it's hard to just place. At least I think so. It's hard to place our sound in one specific genre. Like this is pure djent,
There's definitely more to it than just djent. I think it's fair to say you got those elements, like where you have your bass drums and guitar and everything sort of lines up, and you got those polyrhythms and stuff. But you're right. There is so many elements in it, like if you go back to Applause of a Distant Crowd, like you also have those, I think, what is it, the finishing song on the album, Green Screen Mother or something, which is this little sort of epilogue of the album almost. So it's a lot of different elements for sure. So on the new album, are you sort of going more into to sort of like taking the aggressive and the modern? As you mentioned,
like we're gonna we're connecting those, but still within that there's still because oftentimes when people say it's getting heavier, then it's so easy to just narrow it down to one path. But we still have many different how do you say it? Inspirations and just different angles to approach it, to make it fresh and our own thing. So, for example, a small detail, but still, in one of the songs, one part contains some percussion that is just me hitting a glass bowl, pretty much, and that's part of one of the heavier songs. And we just we just experiment that way and try to do unexpected things. But the main focus is on making catchy and relatable songs, not in a like brainworm way, like you can't get it out of your head but you want to get it out of your head, but more like with the vibe, like it really that the whole song sticks, not just one riff is cool or that part is cool, but the whole song is like that vibe sticks to,
So how was it for you to come in and sort of take over and fill the shoes here, and then also obviously now like you've recorded the third album, it's all sort of coming together, but how was it sort of to I suppose, what's the right way of putting it? Like sort of like coming in and as a drummer with this setup, like to sort of fill in this soundscape, And because you have all your crazy percussion as well. So like you take up this huge responsibility there.
Yeah. So for the percussion first, that's for example, because there's two sides to this. There's places where I can bring in my own vibe and choose the path of the band in a small way, like just with my own style. And then there's parts where I have to stick to what VOLA is,
Yeah.
Like we're all part of the bigger picture, so it doesn't make sense to like all of a sudden crazy blast beats and super intense guitar solo, and like it still has to fit the universe. So with the percussion, that has been one part where I've looked at it, I've tried many different things, but I've seen that most of it doesn't fit this universe. So I've toned it down, and where it fits, where it's needed, where it can be placed, then I add stuff. But with the drumming, that was actually surprisingly easy, because their sound was already kind of it was kind of aligned with my drumming style. So they already had some stacked grooves before I joined, and the demos they wrote, a lot of the parts were like with electronic, unrealistic drums, and that gave me space to expand on that with the stacks. With SmartFriend, for example, or Ruby Pool, like it was already programmed, not those exact stack rhythms, but like, hey, we want something like this. We don't know what or how, but here's something programmed with some crazy stuff. And then I worked on it, and I found the groove I wanted to do, but I could do it with the stacks, so I could still just jump into those shoes and fill that spot. So that was actually surprising how well it fit without us even having thought about it. It's not like we had to adapt the whole VOLA sound for me to be able to do my stack stuff. It just pretty much worked, which is kind of lucky for us, I guess.
Yeah. Now it looks like even sort of your playing style looks very unique as well. Like for instance, like I said, we just watched the SmartFriend, as intro, and you have this sort of like almost sort of mechanical way of playing. It's actually it's almost theatrical to watch you play, because you have that sort of very unique style. But I suppose a part of it also comes with that setup. So again, like as you said, you have that easy access to the cymbals. Just got a floor tom on either side, so it gives you a lot more focus.
Exactly, that's right. And like you say, the setup and my playing style, they feed each other. So my playing style is obviously not this super robot 100% on the beat rudiment drummer. I'm more alive, more human, I guess, and that feeds into the way I have my toms, because that really allows this, like, really just tribal, just hitting both those toms at the same time. It's like almost like, okay, I throw out all the technique and I just hit them without even thinking about being a drummer, and it's and that also allows me to tap into the song. So for SmartFriend, it's more mechanical sounding, so that allows me to feel more mechanical when I play, and that allows me to give the groove a more mechanical feel. And when there's something like Ruby Pool, first half of the song is obviously more mechanical with the stacks, and then the second half is more flowing with the ride, giving that open feeling with the wash. Then it allows me to just be more tuned into that, so I can like listen to the lyrics, I can feel what everyone is playing and imagine what this song is about and what the mood of it is. And it's a small nuance, but just giving that little extra emotion into the playing. It's a small detail that you don't maybe hear, but you feel it in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome, man. Yeah, and again, it's like it really shows like the way you're playing, like it's so it's super awesome to watch. Like I really appreciate it. But who's your influences, drumming wise?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I could say this. My favorite drummer is Lars Ulrich.
Oh, really?
Fellow Dane from Metallica. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just love his approach, ideas, his energy. It's yeah. I think that's one of the drummers that has inspired me the most. I've also been very into both Korn and Slipknot when I was young, so those drummers fed into my style growing up. But yeah, along the way, I've been able to collect different influences. So in metal, of course, like Meshuggah and Gojira and Opeth and bands like that, like I've picked up some things. But also, I've been very lucky to have two very good drum teachers. So I've taken some lessons from Matt Halpern of Periphery, and he's really fed into my approach to music. A lot of the business side as well. So he's really awesome, fantastic teacher. And then for many years, I've had a private teacher here in Västerås, in Sweden, where I live. Called Svetlan Rocket, and he's very not harsh, but very like okay, so here's the deal. This is how we do it. So, for example, the first lesson I took with him, I had already dabbled with some Meshuggah, so I thought like this was maybe when I was 14 years or something. I played drums for 1 or 2 years, so I thought I was like. Yeah, I'm a hotshot. I know Meshuggah, I know taller rhythms, and then he is like asked me some questions about what I knew and so on. And I just said, yeah, this is what I can play, and this is what I know. This is what I listen to. He said, all right. Didn't seem too impressed, and then asked me to play Back in Black, and obviously it didn't sound too good because the groove wasn't there. So that's what he has given me, and this whole focus on groove. The drummers he threw at me, like we worked a lot with songs. That's pretty much the way I've worked with drumming all the way since I started, just playing along to songs that I like. Started playing along to Korn songs, then I hear some I don't know, whatever. Yeah, Meshuggah after a while, OTEP, Raised Fist, like whatever. I just hear a song, listen to it, try to play it until it's good, hear another song I like. And that's the way I've done it. So he did that, but he wanted to throw curveballs. So he would throw drummers at me that weren't part of metal. Like Dennis Chambers, like Steve Gadd, of course, Jeff Porcaro, just many different kinds of drummers, and also drummers that aren't well known for being drummers, but that have a very specific groove, just to, and very specific ideas, just to open me up to the idea that it's not that you're this kind of drummer or you're no drummer at all, but to see like, okay, we have Vinny Colaiuta, he does this and this and this, and he's a master at that. So when we listen to this, we go to him. But we wouldn't go to him if we want an extreme death metal drummer. Then maybe we have Derek Roddy, for example. So this also added to my appreciation of Lars Ulrich, and what really solidifies him as my favorite drummer and one of my biggest inspirations, because of course you don't pick him for Meshuggah, you don't pick him for Depeche Mode or whatever, you know. You pick him for his style, for Metallica, and that made me want to, together with my drum teacher Svetlan, we wanted to find me. So he always used to say that it takes many years, but you just chip off the rock to find the real shape that's underneath, you know. And it's a thin line to be able to take in influences from other drummers and other styles without trying to become them. It's hard. He was right. It takes years. I mean, I'm not like far in. I haven't found myself completely. You know, it's still an ongoing process. But that's pretty much what drives me. And yeah, that's the view I have of other drummers. And I think that also feeds into the way I play. That's why I don't sit around and work a lot on rudiments and stuff like that. Not so much, not too much theory. I just go on what my personality demands, and that's this more human, just pure approach, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like what is it that Lars Ulrich has that is so unique that sort of makes him the number one out of because you mentioned a ton of, you know, legendary drummers. And obviously if you're looking at hard rock, like obviously Lars Ulrich would be up there. He would be one of the biggest profiles.
Yeah, for sure.
But what is it that's so unique about him?
A few things. So first of all, his creative ideas that are so outside the box. Today, most of those ideas, we're so used to them, but imagine the first time you hear him hitting the crash on the 2 instead of the 1, like together with the snare. That's like those small things. It's like, hey, why not? Like, you hit the crash on 1, all right, I'll move it to 2. And of course, drummers it's not like he was the very first one to do it, but it became one of his things. And also that he's so unapologetic. He doesn't apologize for who he is as a drummer. He adds that energy, adds that attitude, and he just does it no matter how much people dislike it or don't connect with it or whatever. He goes with it because it's him. And I've always liked this idea about artists that aren't perfect, because of course you can find many flaws in his playing if you're looking for perfection. But on the other hand, I think imperfection is perfection, you know. And it just, the way he plays the songs live, it's what makes Metallica sound that way. Even if he rushes a lot or falls behind a lot, it's a part of the whole thing, you know. And it's way more interesting to me than if Metallica would be 100% on the grid, perfect, you know. And that's he has his own style. He's him. He's creative. He's unapologetic. He's he has that energy and that attitude. Yeah, that's just super inspiring to me.
Yeah, it's definitely a vastly different experience to listen to, for instance, a band like Meshuggah, who are just so tight.
Yeah.
When you watch them, when you watch them live, like it's like, where's the computer? Like it's like, exactly. Thomas Hage, like even when you watch him sit and just play drums in the studio, they have some videos of him playing. You go like, I give up. That's it. Throw in the towel, man.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Like watching Lars play, you know, it's not perfect. But it works, and it's genuine, and it's you know it's genuine, and it's Metallica. You know what I mean? Like
exactly, it's Metallica, and genuine. That's the word. It's honest and true and real. That's the thing. He's expressing what he wants to express without covering it up with these insecurities or trying to make it perfect. He just lets it be out there. Like this is who I am, pretty much. And people can take it or they can leave. I love that.
But that's again like it's Metallica. Like it doesn't get bigger than that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm actually curious about something else you said before. I can't remember which one of your drum teachers it was, but you said that one of them taught you about the business side of things as well.
Yes, that was Matt Halpern.
Yep. What did he tell you, or what did he teach you that was important?
So basically, he's done some great online classes through a page called Creative Live, where he, together with other members of the industry, like the head of Sumerian Records and managers he's worked with and so on, just goes through how does the business side work, what is it like to work with a label or a manager, and so that's the general stuff. But then he's also been able to guide me as I've stepped into the world more and more. Like, okay, am I being fooled here, or is this legit? Or also with like, what is it like to work with other companies, like cymbal companies or whatever? And he just kind of showed me how it works. That it's basically for almost all those things, it's more of a relationship than strict business on paper.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found to be in common, the red line through all of it, is that if you're not a good person, and I mean, if you're of course, people can be individual and have their own ideas and thoughts, but if you're an asshole, doesn't matter how good you are, people don't want to work with you. So it's like, be yourself, be kind, and just see it as a relationship. It has to be mutual. It's not just, hey, give me this, I want this from you.
I think that's probably an overall good life advice. Like just in general, just be a nice person. But it's funny. It's funny because you hear that all the time. Like you hear all these bands, especially the bigger they get, the more arrogant. Sometimes you hear bad stories and.
Yes.
But I think when you are talking to, like, I've spoken to so many upcoming bands and so many bands that that are trying to break out, and they're like, and all of them are so humble, they're so nice, and they because it's I think it's a part of the whole community of being a musician, because you just want you just want to enjoy your art, you just want to play music. And for whatever reason, everybody on the other side, everybody who's coming to the shows and stuff, don't really seem to appreciate it too much, because it's
no, but
it's such a tough industry, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're not in it because it's easy.
No.
But yeah, you're right. There's so many good musicians and humble people out there. Sadly, whenever there's someone who isn't good, a real asshole shows up, and that gets more attention than all the good stuff,
Yeah.
So that it has a tendency to outshine the good.
But I suppose as well, like you have cowboys or assholes in all industries, and it's just a shame that they sort of prey or take advantage of the less knowing people, or the people that are just really eager to progress in their own track there. I've got a funny little note here I've written down. I wanted to run past you. I don't know if you picked up on it yourself, but on one of your drum videos, There's someone who says that he didn't know that Shia LaBeouf, or whatever his name is, that he was playing drums.
Yeah.
I saw that one, and I actually laughed out loud by myself, and I was like, "That is so good." You've obviously seen that since you're laughing, but yeah.
I've heard that a few times, you could say.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it has a tendency to show up on my own videos, on VOLA videos, and other pictures and so on. Yeah.
Has anyone ever sort of thought that was you? If you guys aren't on stage, if you're sitting at a bar or something, have you ever been mistaken for being him?
No, not that I know. At least no one has approached me and asked. But yeah, maybe, I have no idea. But online, it is. Because I
thought honestly it would be the funniest thing if you were at a concert and somebody comes up and they want to take a photo with you and you think it's because you're the drummer, and then they think, oh hey, look guys, I'm here with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny.
It's good,
maybe
man.
it happens. We'll see.
One day, man. So another thing I've got here is I was wondering, like, how much time do you spend practicing? Because you have quite a bit of drum videos on your YouTube page, and you also you're doing your own stuff as well. So you're playing with what was it, Dottie? Dotter, yeah, and you're doing some of your own music as well, or some of your originals as well. So yes. you must be spending a lot of time playing or rehearsing.
Yeah. Actually, I spend more time creating than rehearsing.
Oh, great! That's even better.
I do. Yeah. I do session work as well. So people send me if they want my drums on their songs. They send me their tracks, and I record the drums for it. Yeah, for most of it, it's very rare that there's something new technical that I need to work on. Like, okay, this is a pattern I don't know. I need to rehearse it to figure it out. For the most part, what I'm working on is, for example, with my own music, like, okay, so I want to create this vibe with this theme. This is what it's about. And here are the tools I have. So how do I pray into that vibe? What do I use? What don't I use? So I work more with the choices I make with what I have, rather than try to rehearse to grow my vocabulary and so on.
Yeah.
And that's, I know some drummers are very split on this topic, because there are obviously these drummers who work on rudiments every day. They know all the great drummers. They've studied the jazz legends and so on, and they can say that this rudiment is this, and now we make a fill 3 bars, and the 4th bar I do this rudiment, blah blah. That's all fair. It's just not me, so I don't spend a lot of time practicing that. If I practice, it's a song I need to learn. If we were gonna, which we are gonna, play a new VOLA song live from the new album, then I need to, obviously, because it's gonna be quite a while since I recorded it, so I need to get used to it again. See what flair I can add to it live. So I just play through it. So in that way, I rehearse to get it in. Or if Dotter sends me a new song and we play it live next show, I need to rehearse it as well. But a big part of the practicing and the rehearsing, the learning of the songs, is just listening. So most of it happens outside of the drum kit. So what I usually do, if I get a batch of songs that I need to learn, I like to do a lot of passive listening. So I play a video game, I just loop the songs, listen to them over and over again. So the melody structure sticks, and then eventually, while I'm at the computer, my fingers start taking along with the music. And then I know that, okay, now I'm ready to take these songs to the drum kit, and then I just polish it up, feel in the groove. So I'm not really so excited about excelling technically. I want to excel creatively, and not just about doing, hey, this is an unexpected, crazy idea, but about doing something that speaks to the emotion of the song. For example, with Smart Friend, if I want to have that more mechanical groove, then of course I will see what I can do to make it feel more mechanical, and so on.
Yeah. When I first listened to that, it's so cool that in the first, I think the first many elements of the song where you're playing that intro groove, then at the very end you actually just flip it around and just play straight on top of it, and it's actually so surprising to hear that you can play straight on top of it when pretty much the entire song you're doing the exact opposite, and sort of almost masking that it is sort of like a straight beat to put on. Yeah,
the whole song is just 4/4.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like that at all when you're playing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, but I really like the fact that you're spending more time creating than rehearsing, because that's, again, as a musician, that is probably far more important, because that is how you sort of develop your horizon, rather than, as you said yourself, like your arsenal or your vocabulary.
Yeah. And my local drum teacher, Svetlan, he used to say this great analogy. Like, let's say you're going to build a house. You can have all the tools in the world, but it's not going to make it a great house just because you have all the tools. You still need to know how to build a house. You need to know which tool to choose. You need to know how you want the house to look, why you want it to look that way, why are there to be 3 bathrooms or 1 bathroom, or, like, what are the choices?
Yeah.
Or you can have just the tools necessary to build a house, but you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what to achieve, how to achieve it, and you do it as well as you can. And I like to think of that with drumming, just focus in on what do I want to say and how do I say it, instead of just, okay, now I want to learn this and this and this crazy thing,
Yeah. And that's, again, when you, I've loaded up, as we discussed about before we started, I've loaded up that song that you've done, where you've got like a ton of different percussion and stuff.
Yeah.
I might just try and just play that in the background, and we can, and you can try and tell us a little bit about how that came up, because I think you mentioned in the description that you're playing some guitar with a bow, or something.
Yes, exactly. So, that's another thing I've been experimenting with. Playing an acoustic guitar with a bow, adding lots of reverb to it, and modifying it. So that's what I did in that song. And then just pretty basic acoustic guitar playing. I don't really know how to play guitar, so I just improvise. And of course, the guitar, it's not my main thing, so I don't really care about the performance. All of that is just part of the vibe. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing my own compositions for quite a while, just like nothing ambitious, just adding a melody. I started out with doing some MIDI stuff on the computer, and then seeing what I can drum along with that. And then it has turned out to be this thing where I actually play the instruments myself, with a guitar with a bow, for example.
Yeah.
And there I try to focus in on the vibe. Like, what's the story with this? What do I want to say? And then I try to say it. So, for example, I did another one called Hunt, together with amazing vocalist Ellie Andrea from France. So she also plays in a band called Mobius, so it's like Janzi. But we both thought, hey, let's step away from the prog thing and create this thing ourselves. So we thought, what's the story? What's the idea behind this? And then we tried to turn it into so it matches the vibe.
Make it grow, yeah.
Yes, and that's what I did with this song, Birth of a Harpy. I had this idea of something ugly, because a harpy is this ugly beast, you know. It's something that's considered vile. It's not something of beauty, but a harpy still wants to learn how to fly, you know. And there's a harpy is stillborn, and you know, even within that ugliness, there is beauty. So what happens when that meets? What does it look like when this vile, ugly creature tries to fly? And I just imagine this staggering motion, you know. It's not like a beautiful bird learning to fly and failing. It's this beast that terrifies people, tries to fly and fails, and tries again. I really tried to tap into that, which is why the song sounds sad and dark, but still a bit hopeful, because there is hope that this harpy wants to fly, but it's born this way. It's doomed to be this hungry, greedy, ugly creature. So, for example, with the stacks, when I tap into that, or with the hi-hat, you know, I do this rapid single strokes to make it like almost sounds like wings fluttering, but not in a beautiful way. It's just rapid and then goes away. And I try to fit in with the percussion as well, and with the bow on the guitar, because I don't play guitar, I don't play a string instrument. It naturally sounds wrong or ugly, which also feeds into this ugliness of the song. But the melody still has some hope in it, you know.
But it's like it's very theatrical, like when you're watching it, or listening to it, even, because obviously being instrumental, you know, it's sort of like you have these emotions from listening to it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I want to achieve, because I don't like make it theatrical just to be theatrical. It's like, this is what I feel, and I just make it, you know, just create it. So it's really nice to hear that it's perceived that way. That's also when I play the percussion, or when I play the drums, I just going back to Lars, I just ignore what some drummers say, like, hey, don't make that drummer face, or, you know, that's a common thing between drummers, but I just throw it all away. Don't care about anything. I just record it, do it the way I feel it, and that's that, you know.
I think that's an extremely good trait to have, like to not like, you know, to not being sort of too obsessed about what other people think of you. Like just go with what's real, as we mentioned earlier as well. It's genuine, you know, something that's you, something that's Adam.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And people can, if they don't like it, it's fine. Like, it's no big deal.
Yep.
Then like it's nothing that has to be so taboo or so horrible. But yeah, that's it definitely hasn't been like that always, and it's, of course, you always have that in the back of your head, that what if, but it's just about hearing that voice and saying, okay, I go forward anyway. Like, doesn't matter, you know.
And what about, so in regards to sort of going forward and stuff, in regards to music, you also do online lessons yourself, from what I could see as well. Are you
Yes.
doing anything else in regards to sort of making music as a full-time job? Obviously, like you play in a couple of different bands and stuff. You said you were you're doing session work as well, and online lessons.
Yeah, exactly.
So is this something you're able to do full time?
Weirdly enough, these last few months, I have been able to with the session work, which is surprising because of the whole Corona situation. But yeah, I try to take this chance to expand now. So, like you say, yes, I do online lesson, I do session work. I play shows with VOLA and with Dotter, which is a Swedish pop artist. But then I have a few things planned. So, for example, with my own music, I have plans to make it more ambitious, and yeah, currently working on it. Really going all in and not just making a YouTube playthrough. And some more elements will be added to that. But then I also have some ideas about some collaborations I want to do. Not just one-off collaborations, but projects I want to start. Yeah, like collaborating with drummers, making songs together with drummers I admire, or so I have a few things.
So making songs with the drummers. So is that just going to be a lot of percussion stuff, or what are we planning there?
I've actually started something now. So I hit up these drummers that I really admire, and some of them are good friends also. So I create some sort of song, just the melodic stuff, basic. I send it over to that drummer. The drummer does his thing with it, whatever he feels like. Then I drum on top of that, so it's like a drum duet thing. And yeah, then we take it from there. Maybe it will turn into a drummer, I don't know, drum talk or whatever. I have no idea.
Oh wow!
I'm just open for whatever. But I just get these ideas, and I think now these days, I think, why not try? If it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, cool. Next thing, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So how does it work in regards to sort of having two drummers? Like it's tell me a little bit more about that idea, because when you first mentioned that you wanted to collaborate, I thought, oh, okay, well you might be talking to like get some guitarists and do some other songs and get another vocalist and sort of mishmash and make a song. But when you said you're gonna do drums with more drums on top, it's like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, you're right about collaborating with other instrumentalists. That's also what I want to do, and it kind of kicked off with this collaboration I did with Ellie Andrea. I would, maybe definitely expand on that collaboration as well. But with drumming, it's a bit more difficult. But it's also a challenge because it makes you think about how you have to rearrange the drumming, because it's not like, okay, this drummer plays a groove, now I play a groove. We're not alternating, and we cannot play two different grooves at the same time just like that. We need to adjust. And the interesting part with this is I will be the one adjusting and just giving some backup. So then when you think of drumming, and you think hi-hat, kick, snare, but I have this tribal vibe with the toms. I have the stacks. I have it can be treated more like percussion, and if it can build more upon the vibe of the track and of the style of that drummer, instead of me also showing off like I can do this and now I can play this crazy fill. That's a challenge I really like, to just try to build on a vibe together with another drummer, because that means, since that drummer will be the first one to lay down the track, the drums, that means I have to adapt to that vibe. So it's another new angle. It's not just me doing what I want, but it can definitely work. It just requires some thought from my side, and it requires to feed into this less is more idea also.
Yeah, it sounds super interesting. Have you have you got anything recorded already, or anyone you've been collaborating with?
Started off with one drummer. We're working on one track now, the track is done. Just waiting for his drums, and I put my drums on top of that, and I take it from there. See what I'll do with that. It's Kelly from Agent Fresco. It's a really cool band from Iceland. And that drummer is insanely good. Kelly is his short name for people who don't speak Icelandic, but in reality has a much longer name.
Yeah, probably very difficult to pronounce.
Yes. So that's the first one I wanted to do this with. And as we started, I thought, why not turn it into a thing with other drummers as well, because it can be cool. So yeah.
That's awesome. So is it just drums, or are you guys playing on top of some sort of, like I said, bass line or any sort of other instruments in the background?
Yeah. So I've created a track that I sent to him with other instruments, just melodies. It doesn't have to be anything like catchy and good in that way. Just something that is out of the box, so we can put the drums on top of the track instead of trying to lift the track from the bottom, I just did some crazy MIDI stuff, and then we work with that.
That sounds super interesting.
Yeah.
So when is any of this potentially coming out? Like, is that something you've planned for the near future?
Yeah, I want to try to get it out this summer. To get it started. I want to take this summer to really, to really do these all these projects. With the drummers, with the vocalist I mentioned, with maybe other people. My own stuff as well.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, like, again, if you aren't playing any shows until what was it, September? You said you might have had a spot in Denmark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One show.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. But that's, again, as you were saying before, you're creating rather than just rehearsing.
Yes.
So that it sounds I love it. It sounds super cool. I'm really looking forward to hearing that drummer stuff.
Cool.
So have you got anyone else lined up? Obviously, don't need to drop any names, but have you got anyone else that you are sort of in the pipeline?
No, I haven't. I haven't spoken to anyone else yet. I have a few drummers in mind, because I have drummer friends from all the way from prog to pop to black metal. Like, it's all over the spectrum. So there's many different ones. But this is a new spontaneous idea. So I start this with Kelly, and then I see where I take it from there.
Awesome, man. So, you never know. You might be on to a solo career. But also, so are you planning on doing more of your own, like Birth of a Harpy, sort of all of of that genre as well, like your own 100% solo stuff? Are you planning on doing more of that as well?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I will definitely do that. I will try to have something done maybe by this summer, end of summer or something like this. I have no idea. But yes, and I want to make it, like I said, more than just a YouTube playthrough thing.
Yeah.
So I will expand on the sound, add more things, maybe add more people to it, and make it proper, you know. But yeah, definitely along that vibe. So that will happen for sure.
Yeah. So is there any of that solo stuff that you're doing, any of your vibes? Is any of that something that could be collaborated into the songwriting of VOLA, or is that more the other guys that are writing the songs there?
I mean, in the broad strokes, I think those two worlds are too different.
Yeah.
Like the VOLA vibe requires this more mechanical and modern touch, while my solo stuff, you know, it can be like the string guitar with the bow thing that sounds almost out of tune, and it can be shakers that aren't tight and so on. But one thing that definitely feeds in is my interest in darker music. I mean, it adds a little spice of that into VOLA, and then the other guys take that and translate it, and it's the same way it works. It works the other way around also. Like VOLA feeds into me, and I take that and translate it. So it's like mutual growth in a way.
Because again, like it's been really interesting to hear about how different bands create the music, you know, the actual songwriting process, like how like, because sometimes stuff just happens organically, and other times you know, one guy has all the tools, you know, to build the house, and it just comes in. So mainly in VOLA, is it one of the other guys that would have the most of the foundations, and you guys can just chip in to sort of chisel the last bits of it, or how does it work?
I mean,
because you mentioned for the third album here that because you've been doing a lot of it remotely, like you had been sending stuff to each other. Like, would there be someone who had like the bulk idea for a song and send that out, or is it simply like you have an idea, one of the other guys have an idea, and you all just chip in, so it becomes like 25%.
No, it depends on the song. I mean, some songs are like almost 25, but and some songs maybe it's just like one of the songs from the albums. Asker just one night sitting there having an idea, doing it from start to finish, and like if we don't have any objections, we have no need to be like hey, I need to change this just for the sake of it. So since Asker is the lyricist, he also rearranges the songs to fit that as well. So yeah, we all add different parts of it, but I would say that the lyrics and the vision, they're very important of the sound. So that's why that part lands with him. So yeah, we all throw in ideas, and it's not like one person has the
final say or something.
Like, no, I want it this way. So we all help each other to decide, but I think we all have a pretty clear vision of where we want to go.
That's pretty good.
But
It's sometimes quite rare to hear that,
yes,
because there's usually, you often hear about, people that have too much ego, where everybody needs to have a say and stuff like that. So for you guys, to actually be on the same page and sort of be sort of calibrated that way is awesome.
yes, I feel very lucky to have it that way, actually.
And chemistry as well when you're on tour, is that
yeah. It's all like we're all on the same page pretty much. Two of the guys are fathers as well, and we're all like chill and just level-headed. So yeah, that's also an important part of the puzzle that just fits.
Yeah, super important.
Yeah.
And another thing I saw, I think it was it last summer or something? You guys had your own beer as well. Like you actually had a VOLA beer.
Yes. The Alien Shivers IPA.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How the hell did that come about? That's a pretty cool merch item.
Yes, yeah. A British brewery wanted to do it with us. We met them in No, I don't remember if it was Glasgow. Maybe we met them somewhere on tour, then we just talked. They proposed the idea, and we got it rolling. So they also did a beer for Skindred, it worked out pretty well. I mean, people were pretty stoked for that beer. It was pretty cool.
So how do you buy that? Like, can you only order it through your website or?
It was limited release, so I think it's I don't remember, but I think it's they just made a limited batch.
Yeah, okay.
Sold it to some bars, and then we brought some on tour and so on, or on a festival. But it's I think we're gonna possibly do more of that. Not sure if we do more of that specific one or do a new one, but it was well received and it was fun. So
I could imagine.
I'm open for that.
I could imagine. Again, you see more and these microbreweries sort of popping up everywhere around the world. So it would be sort of a great opportunity for some of them to collaborate with the bands.
Yeah.
I had another band on from Perth, so a local band. I had them on was a week or two ago, and they were when they play live, they have like beer bongs, and it's like one crazy party, like sort of full on rock roll band. They were actually talking about that would be something that they would love to look into. So I might be using you as or VOLA as a little bit of a reference point there. So I've got so one of the questions that I'd like to ask everybody who comes on is if you have any sort of tips and tricks for anyone sort of upcoming. So it could be, whether you are a drummer sitting out there, whether you are a band that was sort of like to you might need a little bit of a kick in the butt or a little bit of inspiration or motivation. Have you got anything that has sort of worked for you that you could say this here? I love what you were saying earlier about, the tools to build a house and stuff, but is anything that has worked for Adam that you sort of could pass on?
There's two pretty big keys, I think. Don't worry about making it, but work hard. Because people get so caught up in numbers, like now we want this many views or this many likes or this and that. But whatever stage you're in, if you just as long as you enjoy it and you don't hang your whole happiness on if you make it or not, then then it's fine, because if you're happy no matter what, you're gonna enjoy it, you're gonna do it, and it doesn't depend on making it, because making it is also such a broad term. Like, what if I can actually create my own music? The music I want to create, I release it. I can play a few shows here and there with VOLA and other bands, but at the same time, I need to have a job that I can, have at the same time. If I can find a nice balance there, isn't that making it in a way? If I'm happy, but at the same time, work hard, because it's not gonna, nothing is just gonna drop out of the sky. So the working hard, it's towards establishing something, not towards numbers. And it goes hand in hand. If you find that happiness and you do what you like, it's easier to work hard.
For sure.
And you can develop what you want to develop. It really doesn't have to depend on how known you are and how many views you get, how many likes you get, and so on. As soon as I kind of got that with me, it was, I entered a very happy period of music making. Then you're happy no matter what happens, as long as you can make the music you want to make. And the rest, you just adjust and adapt. But working hard, it's definitely needed. And there's another thing which is underrated, and that's patience in the long run. Because from day to day, you're going to try to be as effective as possible. You're going to try to get as much done as possible today. But that doesn't mean that tomorrow is the day everything blossoms. You still need patience in the long run to wait for to keep working hard every day for many years until you're fed up with it, or you continue forever. Because it's also not about reaching a point. This is a cliche, but it's true. It's the journey that kind of matters, and I think that's the underlying tone of this whole thing.
Yeah, I resonate 100% with what you said about getting the right balance and just be happy with what you're doing, and that's something I've been sort of balancing quite a bit myself lately as well, especially sort of trying to look after my family, trying to do this, which is something I'm developing myself and trying to grow into, trying to play some music at the same time and not stressing too much about everything else, because it's just like life gets hectic, you know what I mean? And it's all about finding stuff that adds value to it, because otherwise it gets really like becomes a drag. It becomes hard to enjoy the journey. And what you said about working hard, I'd love to maybe just get your points on how you would define that. Because working hard to some people, as you said, nothing, very rarely something just lands on your lap, and but if you work harder, if you are determined, then sometimes you get lucky. You know what I mean? So how do you define working hard?
Yeah. So first of all, what you said about like when you get lucky, that's a big part of it, because luck is part of the equation, and what you can do is put yourself out there to increase your chances. If, for example, you're looking for a band, don't just apply to one band, then be done when they say no. Put yourself out there, show the world who you are, for example, YouTube covers is a great idea. So maybe then after 3 years, you have new experiences and big arsenal of material and new skills. Then you've applied to bands along the road, and you've put yourself out there on different platforms. Then it's easier for you to get lucky. But about working hard. So, for example, if I take it from my own experience, so before I joined VOLA, after I left my first local band, so I had no band, but I wanted to really play drums. Then I thought, okay, I've done YouTube covers when I was a kid, and I want to do them again. So how do I do that? All right, I need a camera. So I got a cheap used camera. I need recording equipment. I need the software, and I need to learn how to use it because I had no idea. So I hit up some friends who work with that, and I just asked, okay, just basic stuff. What microphones could I possibly get? What sound card? Maybe do you have how did you learn mixing? And I just got some basic tips. Then YouTube, Google. I set up the microphones. I learned how to plug everything in. I learned how to mix. And it's a long process that takes years. And I'm definitely better now than I was when I started, obviously, with the mixing and recording. But I'm in no way a professional or anything like that. But this I did while I had a full-time job, Monday to Friday, which meant I wake up 7 in the morning, eat breakfast, go to work, come home at like 5, eat something. I'm exhausted. I go to the rehearsal space, work on a cover, maybe a recorder or something. Next day, work again, 7 to whatever, and then I go home. Maybe then I sit and mix the track or edit the video. And that's how it went. Because from 5 when I got home to when I have to go to bed at, 11, 12, there's many, many hours. Many hours. And I even, of course, this is also a balance thing, but even during the weekends, I didn't go out as much with friends and so on, just because this is what I did. So in the weekend, then you have full day, full night to do whatever you want to do. So I would spend that time doing this as well, learning. And that's what I kind of mean with working hard. Really putting in the time and the effort to learn, like even when my mixing skills weren't, and they still aren't that great. But in the beginning, I didn't know what a compressor does, but I learned it through making these covers. And when I finished mixing a cover to the extent of my skill, I uploaded it and just put it out there. This is where I am at this point. And I move on to the next one, but using the time effectively, and at the same time not hating on yourself if you're lazy or if you're not using your time effectively, but learning from it. But yeah, it's different for everyone. It's always a balance. If you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a family, of course you need to find that balance as well. Or if you really cherish being with your friends or other things, then it's always a balance. But it's up to you how much time you and work you put in. But the fact is that the more time and work you put in, the more results you get for the most part.
Yeah,
and that's just yes.
But it also becomes, again, like if it is something you do enjoy, it obviously it doesn't feel like a drag. It becomes something you actually want to do.
Exactly. Like that's the way it was after work. I really looked forward to recording this cover or releasing it or, editing the video or whatever. Yeah. And then it's like you say, it's not a drag. It rather gives you energy to do it, even if you're exhausted after the long day.
it can probably almost empower you because again, it's something you're passionate about.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Just out of curiosity, what do you do for work when you're saying you were working full time?
I worked as a receptionist at a healthcare facility.
Oh, okay.
So basically, patients were checking in to go to the doctor, and or they dropped in being ill, or had questions and so on. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
Pretty rock and roll.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Adam, man, it's been super fun to hear some of your stories, man.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. I think probably one of the last questions, or one of the last things I just wanted to bring up, was just about sort of the future from here. Like where's everything going to go from now? Because obviously, you've got one show left. You're doing your drummer on drummer stuff. You're doing your more of your own stuff. But what's the sort of long term? So the next, like, what are you doing in 5 years?
No idea. No idea. No matter what, I will still create music then. But I don't have a long-term plan. I know that about next year, I know for sure, like the things that are planned then. But about 5 years, I've no idea, no expectations really.
Okay.
As long as I can live and make music, then it's all good, very much.
Fantastic. That's it. I suppose it's all about being happy, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So for everybody who will be listening to this in the future, can you just do a little shout out, say where people can go if they want to sort of be up to date with you and what you're doing? So you got a couple of social media platforms. Where should people head over to sort of stay tuned?
My Facebook and my Instagram. You can find me there. My full name, Adam Janzi. So I just update people there, keep the news flowing, and there's also my YouTube channel for new videos, or the VOLA official pages as well, both Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so on YouTube it was Adam TDE, is that right?
Yeah, but you can just search my full name there as well. You'll find it. Yeah.
So what's TDE? What does that stand for?
That was my my old first band. Band I ever had. So it's a pretty old channel. The Drake Equation.
Oh, nice.
So it was a local band. I think I was 14 or 15 when I started playing with those guys, and I recorded with them for the first time in a real studio with a guy called Dino Melanhotic, and he's the boyfriend of Dotter. He also writes with her and plays live with her. So that's how I got that gig also. So he's a very good friend since then.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Adam, thanks so much for taking time out of your afternoon and having a chat.
Thank you for having me.
Just as we round off here, we're gonna listen to or we're gonna watch you play Ruby Pool. Have you got anything you want to say about sort of how you play that, or just a couple of final words about that song?
It's a very mellow song, but it has an intricate beat, which is a bit contrasting, but it works. It's one of those places where I can really play around with the stacks. I worked quite a lot on that groove, but it didn't become this thing where I have to focus on every hit I do. Now it just flows naturally. That's a mellow song that has an undertone of love, which is why it requires some softness, and hopefully you'll
it's like
feel that from watching it.
It's like the polar opposite of smart friend that we start out with.
For sure. Yeah.
Excellent. Adam, again, thank you so much for your time, and
thank you.
really appreciate it. And I can't wait to hear some of your new stuff, and obviously the new VOLA album as well.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Take care, Adam. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in or listening along to the show. If you like the show, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to my social channels. It doesn't cost you anything, but it greatly helps me to build my networks and my chances of getting sponsors to keep this show running. If you want to take it to the next level, please head over to patreon.com/Stephen Helhammer and become a patron by joining the exclusive community there. You can start from as little as $3 per month. And for just a little extra, you get access to some fantastic features, outtakes, behind the scenes stuff, and much more. That's less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. And that way you can help me build better content. I can devote more time to find awesome guests and generally keep everything flowing. If you want to be on the show or subscribe to my mailing list, send an email to steven@helhammer.com, and that is HELhammer.com. That way I can start sending you exclusive invites, random stuff, and messages that, who knows, you might enjoy. So that's it. Have a rocking day ahead, guys, and I will see you on the live stream or in your headphones very soon. Take it easy.